Hello, my name is Robin Harwell. I'm a speech-language pathologist, and I am also a brain building therapist. And you're watching this video because someone at your center has gone through our GaitWay to the Brain training in McKinney, Texas at ManeGait Therapeutic Horsemanship Center. What they've done is they've brought back the knowledge and the tools to literally lay down new neural pathways in your riders' brains. GaitWay to the Brain is based on the neuroscience that tells us we have two gifts. Every morning, everyone, regardless of age, regardless of diagnosis, wakes up with thousands, tens of thousands of new brain cells all over the brain. This is called neurogenesis. When we supply specific stimulation to these new cells, and we connect them to already working cells, they connect and literally lay down wiring in the brain that supports function. So between neuroplasticity and neurogenesis, we are literally able to change any brain of any age, regardless of diagnosis. This is hugely hopeful, and it's supported by the science. What we know is that our riders, when they get on a horse, they get marvelous outcome because that horse's walking gait mimics the normal human walking gait, opening up the brain and the body of that rider. The head lifts up when the trunk elevates, enlarges their visual field. They feel the left and the right side of their bodies. They start to integrate that information to develop a core. They carry this over when they get off of the horse in better balance, better gait, better walking, increased confidence, all kinds of wonderful outcome that they get from the horse. But some of our riders, after that initial outcome, they tend to plateau and they essentially have the same ride over and over again. GaitWay to the Brain is designed for these riders. So using neuroplasticity and neurogenesis, we're able to literally go in, and instead of teaching an action or giving information, we are doing activities that lay down wiring, lay down those new roads. Every brain, regardless of their age or diagnosis, has to do four things. It has to receive information, it has to store and organize that information, it has to retrieve that information and use it. That is function, that is performance. What happens if you think of a brain in three parts? You have sensory brain, where all of that information that they're receiving, what they're seeing, what they're hearing, what they're feeling, what they're touching, all of that information goes into sensory brain. And then they bring it up to emotional brain, and then they have to bring it up to the top of the brain. This is communication brain, language brain, thinking brain, problem-solving brain. This is where we need them to be. What happens for our GaitWay riders is often because their sensory systems are diminished or are not able to integrate that information easily, they get overwhelmed at sensory brain. They default to this emotional brain and they get stuck here. And they either melt down or they shut down. And they can't get up to the top of the brain because they're stuck here. So with GaitWay to the Brain activities and tools, we're doing two things. We're trying to rebuild those sensory input channels so that they work better, receive better, and that they talk to the other channels better. They integrate that information better. If that happens, they don't get overwhelmed here, so they can go up here, but then they can come all the way up here. They don't get stuck. If they get stuck, the second thing we get to do is we lay down optional routes. When we lay down wiring, we give them optional routes to go so that they don't get stuck here. If one road goes down, they have another route they can use, or another 3 or 4 or 5 or 10,000 routes, whatever we've laid down. So the brain is plastic, and with GaitWay to the Brain knowledge and tools, we can literally change any brain of any age, regardless of diagnosis. Your center now has this knowledge, they have these tools, they want to do this with your rider, and when you change the brain, this is when you change lives. So they're ready, and if you're ready, we encourage you to build brains and have fun.